If you want to learn how the #1 sniper in Asia keeps breaking records in the VCT, then keep watching. Because today we're going to break down the mouse grip and posture of Kang Kang. Kang Kang seems to follow the trend of mouse grip styles from some of the best duelists in the world like Aspas and Zmjkk, but has one major difference that may be the reason why he needs that tape on his hands. Could this also be the reason why he's so dominant with his aim? Let me show you in a bit, but first let's start with his base setup. Like every other pro in Valorant, he prefers the tilted keyboard setup, likely to make some more space for his mouse movement, especially since he has lower overall sensitivity at around 81.64 centimeters. He uses the table for forearm support with the softer part of the forearm on the actual edge of the table. And this is typically better than when it's closer to the elbow. This is because the muscle can tolerate some of the contact stress compared to there being less muscle and fatty tissue around the elbow where the nerve can get irritated. And that can lead to some pinky-sided wrist and hand issues. And as you can see from the top-down view, internal rotation is present on both sides in his resting position. And if you've been watching my videos, you know that this level of internal rotation can lead to some issues at the neck, shoulder, and head. But as long as you regularly exercise to strengthen and stretch these areas, it's totally fine to use this setup. This rounding is a bit more noticeable in this view, along with that tape that he has on his mouse hand. So let's talk about his grip and see if there's something about it that leads him to need that tape. Kang Kang has what I call the scorpion claw grip. Why? Because the middle finger actually seems to float while he's holding the mouse. And this can increase the use of the muscles on the top side of his forearm because he has to use that muscle to keep his finger up while he's actually playing. And I'm confident this is the reason why he may have some wrist pain on the top side of his wrist and hand. So to try his grip, start by making sure your palm is touching the mouse. Then place your index finger on the top of mouse 1, float your middle finger over the mouse 3 button, and use your ring finger to stabilize at the end of the mouse like this. The pinky and the thumbs stabilize at the same level on each side of the mouse. The floating finger is the reason why his middle finger can look more bent at certain angles. And again, this can use more of the muscles on the top side of his forearm, his finger extensors, potentially leading to some pain. I've actually seen this grip before from a CS2 pro I've worked with very recently, and he actually had some pain because of it. And we are able to get him back to 100%. So Kang Kang, if you need some help, I got you. Kang Kang also aims differently compared to some of the other tier 1 duelists like Zmjkk and Aspas. Instead of using fingertip control for vertical aim, he tends to use his whole arm. And this is probably a good thing since he doesn't need any more stress on his wrist and hand. And if you're curious about the kinesiotape on his hands, I'm actually dropping a video soon, so make sure you subscribe so you know when it drops. But we also can't do a setup analysis without looking at his monitor position. It used to be very low with high tilt that led to a bit more digital eye strain and fatigue. And in this position, the bottom 2/3 of his monitor is out of his central vision, and that can lead to more of his eye surface being exposed, which can lead to earlier fatigue and dryness. And this is just a guess, but it's probably why he seemed to change it up this year, although it's still pretty close to his eyes and with actually a worse neck position that can again lead to those headaches and shoulder and neck issues I always talk about. So how would I rate Kang Kang and where does he stack up with the rest of the pros I looked at? It's obvious he's not S tier. I consider him B- tier because he definitely has some suboptimal position of his mid back and neck. And he already seems like he has pain that can be associated with his mouse grip. I'm also aware that he had previous reports of a fencing injury a year ago. And just so you guys know, by now the tissue has already healed, and if he still has pain, it's most likely associated with poor endurance of his tendons and muscles to handle his grip and the amount of Valorant he plays on a regular basis. As a quick reminder, it's important to do your exercises. Whether it's stretching after or a quick warm-up, just make sure you perform the right exercises to strengthen the muscles you're using so you can prevent any risk of repetitive strain. And if you don't know where to start, check out some of our full routines here. Who do you guys want me to do next?